Welcome back to Ferocious Education, this is Ed. Today we're talking once more about BBIG or Vinco Ventures. If you've never heard about Vinco Ventures or BBIG is a company with a strategy basically to buy, innovate, and grow different companies and spinning them off into either IPOs or kind of almost into their own company, or even just selling them to as a private placement. Now, there is a new news that was actually on the 27th, so it's a little bit delayed, but nonetheless, this is a bit massive because it's also accompanied with an SEC filing. So the SEC filing was on the 26th, and we did talk about it. The next day, on the 27th, they mentioned that Questrade enters into agreement to raise $42 million in common equity and convertible debt. So this is in relations for the Tide or TYDE company as a spinoff that I did talk about before. And this Tide company, Questrade to be specific, is a blockchain technology company focused on consumer adoption of smart contract technology, and they announced that they have entered into definitive agreements for a debt and common equity raise of $42 million. Now, the secured convertible notes or senior notes in the amount of $33.3 million are expected to be sold to an institutional investor for around $30 million and mature in 2025. Unless earlier converted, redeemed, or repurchased, if converted, the notes convert into shares of Questrade at basically $10 per share. So there is a bit of an issue here. So the senior notes will be kind of transferred into Questrade around $10 per share. So that might cause a bit of selling, but there is usually a hold off rate for the sellings for this part, so you might see a quick dip in prices once these become sellable for these holders. But nonetheless, you're able to see there's additional senior notes that are exercisable at $10 and $8 per share. Now that's for around 3.33 million warrants and 1.5 million warrants respectively. Nonetheless, the aggregate gross proceeds of these private placements are expected to be $42 million before deductions of any fees, and this is in preparation for the big day where Questrade becomes its own thing. So they're saying we're thrilled to have securities for this commitment for financing, and we believe that the capital will allow the company after its expected spinoff to scale its business model at an expected pace without sacrificing shareholder value. Now, you're also talking about focusing on executing their vision to become a leader in blockchain and Web3 space, and they're actively pursuing growth opportunities and looking to collaborate with partners who can enhance our future offerings, while still striving to develop a world-class organization for stakeholders. Now, they did talk about their basically the closing of the financing is subject to certain closing conditions, and they talk about their NASDAQ approval being pending for the initial listing of the company's share of the common stock, and that the completion of the proposed spinoff by Vinco Ventures. The notes, common stock, and warrants were offered in private placements and have not been registered under the Security Act of 1933 as amended, and that will take a little bit of time, but nonetheless, this is coming soon. So they give you a bit of an update on what's happening with Questrade. In terms of SEC filing, we don't have anything since the last video. Their ENFT.com or marketplace, so that's their marketplace that will fall under Questrade, currently under beta. It's not the biggest, but it had some bigger names like Tory Lanez as well, having the first kind of cryptocurrency album or NFT album, whatever the terminology. It's more NFT album, but nonetheless, you're able to see that it's still going on with the marketplace. There's some people that are actually still reselling these items, going in I think as low as $1.44, but the average is $3. It was listed at $1, so it's still around 44% upside. Now, if you would like to see more content like this, make sure to click the subscribe button and leave notification buttons on for this channel. Also, don't forget to drop a like if you've enjoyed this video so far, and you can join our Discord in the description below, and let's move on towards technical analysis. Now, from a technical analysis perspective, BBIG has a few things we need to be very careful of. Now, the 10 SMA and the 30 EMA are technically touching at this point, so it can either go in any direction with strong force. Now, unfortunately, there are some warning signs. The 50 SMA is a very strong support. If it does break below 302, it goes kind of into a downtrend. The 200 SMA is a 415, and that is a strong resistance, and it needs to stay above there. It previously broke above it, but really dropped right back. So we're able to see if kind of it's a critical point and it can easily cause reversals at this point. You're able to see as well on the willing percent R, which is very similar to the RSI or the relative strength index. It's neither overbought or oversold, currently smack in the middle at 55.03. This indicator goes between 20 and 80. Now MACD, I mean, that's kind of the neutral range. On the MACD, you're able to see currently a positive reversal attempt, as you get to see it was negative on the 28th of January, attempting to go positive again, but you're able to see that momentum has been kind of going in towards the negative. So currently what it feels is like a tug of war going in both directions, and it's going to snap on one side and send it to rocking in either sides. Now you're able to see that stochastic fast and stochastic slow are kind of suggesting that it kind of is a little bit sideways, but it can drop again, as you get to see. But nonetheless, it's kind of forming in a bullish trend, almost into a W. But again, you can kind of talk about multiple different trends going on here. It's a little bit of a mix on these indicators that can easily get someone to just shrug as saying, hey, it could be curving up, but there's another trend, there's a W. Now, it could be an inverse head and shoulders. There's a lot of different kind of patterns that you can easily find from this one. But nonetheless, the moving average bands are slightly ever so going upwards, which is a good thing, and it's expected to trade between 352 and 288. Meanwhile, the middle is at 320, being right in the middle, and that really is kind of showing that there might be a bit of a pulse and a bit of a slow curl back into this one. Now, the first resistance at 444 into Fibonacci retracements, then 598, 722, 846, 1023, and 1249. Meanwhile, the support is at 195. Now, from a price line action, we're able to see a significant resistance at the 352, then the 383, and then 429, going to 463, higher to 505, 531, 558, and then higher to around 589, and then going to around 601, 644, and then higher to 684, and then 768, and you get the point. Supports, there is a critical one at 325, below there 304, and then 280, 263, around 245, and 228. Now currently there's not much of a trend going in either ways. It was a negative trend that broke out from 216 all the way to 544, currently trying to curve up, but seeing a bearish kicker, suggesting there might be a fallback into that trend. I don't have any analyst recommendations today, but in terms of what I think about this one, I really think volatility is a massive thing with this one. It needs to come out with a date for Cryptide. That is a catalyst. Once it has the record date and that kind of stuff, you might expect for it to see a massive run for people that want to have shares while the record date is there to try to get the spin-off shares. However, they can fully spin it off in a whole different way where they just, through private placement, have sold to institutions at a discount and then basically releasing it as a full IPO without having it as a spin-off shares that you get from BBIG or from holding BBIG. But I think what's likely is it will have a spin-off, something like a dividend share spread or give out based on people that have shares at a given date. And once that is announced, you might expect a bit of a push or a bit of a rally onto this one. What do you think is going to happen here? Make sure to down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and have a wonderful day. Now, if you're still here on this video, make sure to drop down below and join our Discord. We have a lot of different things going on, including, for instance, members that gives picks for free. It's not pump and dumps, we just things we think about, swings, etc. We also have really exciting bots. You can actually use those ones. For instance, we're just testing out this bot, for instance, that gives you Fibonacci resistance points, activities, etc. And we have a bunch of free things, totally free. We run on tips here, and you can ask me questions, suggest stocks, etc. It's a really nice community that has been growing up very fast at a very good rate, and it's totally free. If you would like to join that one, feel free to do so in the description below, and have a wonderful day.